Dear viewers, India's noted journalist Karan Thapar has raised several questions with a view to knowing why US President Donald Trump has suddenly turned against. His guest, Daniel Markey, tells him that one of the key reasons is Indian government's decision not to give Trump credit for successfully broking a ceasefire between India and Pakistan in May. Let's listen into both of them.
Tariffs on the country. He suspended trade talks till the tariff dispute is resolved. He says he doesn't care if India's dead economy continues to sink. And then Peter Navarro, his trade advisor, has said India is threatening America's national security by buying Russian oil. Does all of this suggest India has fallen out of favor?
Well, it sure is a sharp about face from where the relationship was at the very outset of the Trump administration, of the second Trump administration. Certainly early on, when he hosted Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Washington, D.C., there was a lot of friendliness, a lot of sort of personal interaction that looked very positive, as well as a lot of promise of a policy breakthrough on trade and a continuation of many of the projects that the United States and India have had underway for decades. And now all of this, you're right, looks to be in some jeopardy. Why exactly is a longer story that I hope we can get into. But
Daniel also speaks of some acrimonious phone calls between Trump and Modi as another major reason behind the slide insofar as the current relationship between these two countries is concerned. Let's listen into them again.
Sort of frustration that he might have had directly with the person of Narendra Modi could play into the wider relationship. So you see a number of things at work that are eating at the relationship, which I would have to say, sitting here in Washington, D.C., most of them are completely surprising. I would not have expected to be here.
Forgive me, tell me a bit more about these acrimonious phone calls between Trump and Modi, because that would come as news to the entire Indian audience hearing you today.
Well, it's not entirely new. It's not new from me. It has been reported. I think maybe Bloomberg or Reuters has reported this, but there seems to have been a lengthy phone call in which Prime Minister Modi expressed some kind of frustration or wanted to set the record straight on what actually unfolded between India and Pakistan back in May. And apparently, President Trump wasn't having any of it and did not want to hear the prime minister's versions of events. But the prime minister persisted, apparently, and this left a very bitter taste in Trump's mouth. And there is some reason to believe that that led to an unraveling of what was already a contentious trade negotiation, which probably wasn't going nearly as far as the president in his dreams would have hoped that India would get to.
Has Washington fallen in love with Islamabad? Daniel offers a very interesting assessment of Trump's developing relations with Pakistan.
India.
Let's pick up for a moment on Trump's developing relationship with Pakistan. To many in India, it suddenly looks as if he's fallen in love with Islamabad. He's only imposed 19% tariffs. He considers Pakistan, or America at any rate, considers Pakistan a phenomenal partner against counterterrorism. The president invited Field Marshal Munir to lunch. And finally, America is going to help Pakistan prospect for oil. And Trump even taunted India and said it's quite possible that one day Pakistan will be selling oil to India. So is Pakistan the new belle of the ball?
I think that Pakistan is making the most of all of the opportunities that have suddenly and again unexpectedly come its way. I think that I know that Pakistan had been frustrated and anxious under the Biden administration, where they felt that their diplomatic relationship with Washington was severely diminished, and they were in the doghouse for 4 years. And so they were eager, as Trump came in, to find any and every way, every option that they could pursue, fair or foul, to court this new president. And I think it's worked. And exactly why is a bit of a parlor game here in Washington. Which piece of it? Is it oil? Is it critical minerals? Is it counterterrorism? Is it cyber? Is it some grand plan for Pakistani troops in the Middle East? Is it something else entirely, weaning Pakistan off of China? We don't know exactly, but some combination of these things through a variety of means of outreach, including, as you pointed out, a direct interaction between the Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir and our president, seems to be working for the moment. Whether or not this will persist, I mean, I think is really an important question. Pakistan, it seems, has made a lot of promises, and some of them seem, at least to me, unrealistic about the prospects for oil or.
Karan says that right up to Operation Sindoor began, the view in India was that there was very good relationship between Trump and Modi, asking whether or not was an exaggerated view. Let's listen into Danielle.
Came to Washington, I watched their body language as closely as I could. I saw genuinely positive sentiment on Trump's part. We had seen a number of their interactions in the past. So if you're just looking at kind of leader to leader level relations, they seemed generally and genuinely positive, as much as can be the case. And I think beyond that, Vice President Vance's trip to India was a success. Almost every other aspect of the relationship seemed to be going as well as in prior administrations. And so this about face, isn't one that I would have anticipated, because we could see fissures underneath or a deep actual animosity. But I think the India-Pakistan conflict brought out, and Operation Sindoor brought out a deeper difference between them in, again, unexpected ways. But it is now real and shouldn't be underestimated. There'll have to be some attempt to resolve that, what seems to be bad blood between the two leaders. But the good news there is, Trump seems to have a short memory. So one day you're in his bad books, and if circumstances change, you can find yourself in a very different spot not long after. We saw what happened.
Dear viewers, last but not the least, defense expert Pravin Soni in his latest video that he uploaded hours ago has spoken of the announcement made by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Independence Day speech delivered at the Red Fort in Delhi.
Good day, friends. In his Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Modi announced that India will have a Sudarshan Chakra by 2035. In other words, in 10 years, India will have, according to the Prime Minister, an impregnable shield across its entire airspace, catering for all the aerial threats coming from Pakistan and China. And the threats would be in the form of drones, aircraft, and all the land-based missiles with the two countries. Now, this is a big deal. And especially when the Prime Minister makes a statement like this from the ramparts of the Red Fort, it means that this project has been cleared and the funding has been provided.
Mr. Soni, while disagreeing with the announcement made by India's Prime Minister, points out that the threshold of war has dangerously come down. In other words, a deeply frustrated Indian government is clearly stepping up its jingoistic rhetoric against Pakistan.
So the point I'm making is, and this is all something that the Americans will not give us, be sure about that. So the point I'm making is very simple. By this announcement, which in my assessment was unnecessary at this stage, the threshold of war between India and Pakistan, we are aware of what the new normal is, that has still come to a more dangerous level. It has come down. Thank you so much.
Minya Zabud Zainab Sarfraz Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan. Ana Zainab Sarfraz Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan.